So this week is the week before Chanukah, and it is only natural that the Shiur today will deal with Hilchos Chanukah. So that is our minig all these years as we approach Yom Pagra, Gehoy Beneteg, our very special, lofty, holy days. We always are oisig minyon de Yom. So today we will be discussing Birkas Haro'eh. And towards the end of the Shiur, I will explain why, if I need to choose from the many sugyas of Chanukah, this would be one of the most important, not only because it's a fascinating sugya in Lumdis and Halacha, but also the extreme significance and importance this has. So regarding the brachas on Adlokas Ner Chanukah, Shabbos Chov Gimel Amud Aleph, the Gemara says, B'yom Rishon, Hamadlik Mevorach Shloisha V'Haro'eh Mevorach Shnayim. Shayamim, Hamadlik Mevorach Shnayim, V'Haro'eh Mevorach Brocha Achas. So the very first day, if you light the Ner Chanukah, you say three brachas. Birkas HaMitzvah, Shekadeshonu B'Mitzoyse V'Tzivonu L'Adlik Ner Shel Chanukah. Birkas Haro'eh, which is She'osu Nisim L'Aviseinu B'yom HaMahim B'Zman Hazeh, and Shechiyonu. Shechiyonu is only said the first day. So the other days, Hamadlik says, Asher Kedeshonu L'Hadlik She'osu Nisim L'Aviseinu. And if a person, for any reason, cannot light a Ner Chanukah, and all he can do is see one, he says the bracha She'osu Nisim L'Aviseinu B'yom HaMahim B'Zman Hazeh. So today our topic is the bracha She'osu Nisim L'Aviseinu. And my question would not be the Haggadah of the bracha, the definition of the bracha, but rather what obligates us to say this bracha. What is, using Lashon HaKodesh, Hasiba HaMechayeves, what is the Mechayev? What makes it incumbent upon us to say this bracha? Is it the Hadlaka or the Riyah? So let me give a short, brief introduction. Gidrei HaBrochas. Most people think there are three different categories of brachas, and I say not three but four, not four but five, not even five, but actually 6 different categories, and I will briefly explain. Birkas HaNehenen. And the source of this sugya is Brachas Lamed Hey, the very first blad, the very first Amud and Perikates and Mevorchim. And the Gemara says, at the end of a lengthy discussion, Svorehi, so whenever you come to partake and enjoy the world, primarily achila v'shtiyah, food and drinks, you need to say a bracha, and that is defined Birkas HaNehenen. Many mitzvahs, not all of them, but many of them, necessitate Birkas HaMitzvah. And the formula, the basic formula is Asher Kedeshonu B'Mitzoyse V'Tzivonu. There are some mitzvahs that have a slightly different formula. Koyanim B'Birkas Kahanim. Instead of saying Asher Kedeshonu B'Mitzoyse, we say Asher Kedeshonu B'Kedushoso Shel Aharon V'Tzivonu. But it's the basic formula, and that is Birkas HaMitzvah. Birkas HaShevach. Now, Birkas HaShevach splits into 2 different categories. Birkas HaShevach and Birkas HaHidoyah. They have much in common, and that is why it is one heading but 2 different subtitles. Birkas HaHidoyah is when a person thanks the Kodesh Baruch Hu for his personal joy, salvation, well-being. Birkas HaHidoyah would be Hagoy Melech Yom Tovos, Shigmulani Kol Tov, Shechiyonu V'Kiyamonu V'Giyonu L'Zman Hazeh. When he buys a beged chodesh, a pri chodesh, something that brings him tremendous simcha, he needs to thank HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Those are Birkas HaHidoyah. Birkas HaShevach when exalting HaKodesh Baruch Hu. And many Birkas HaShevach are not associated with a personal benefit or personal joy or salvation at all. Oise Maaseh Bereishis. Koichoi V'Gvurosoi Molei Olam. There are some brachas that we could associate or categorize as Birkas HaShevach or Birkas HaHidoyah. Asher Yotzar Esa Adam. After a person goes to the bathroom, Oiset Tzrochav. So we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and fundamentally it is a Birkas HaShevach. This unbelievable, complex, and magnificent machine that is called the human body. And the connection between Guf and the Nefesh, one spirit, and soul and his body, and that is the essence of Ashiyotza. We say this bracha after doing what human beings necessarily need to do just to keep their health, and so it could be defined as Birkas Haidoya or Birkas HaShevach. Birkas HaShachar that we say every day in the morning. And some of them are directly associated with our needs, and others are more about phenomena, natural phenomena. So they definitely are two different categories, Birkas HaShevach and Birkas HaHidoya. For instance, Yomei Nisan, person sees nature once again is giving its abundance and its beauty, and we say, Shaloi chisa ba'elam klum v'bora ba'elonis toivis v'brios elonis toivim v'brios toivis la'anot ben b'nei adam. Is it for your personal joy or on the phenomena? So Birkas HaShevach and Birkas HaHidoya are two categories. That's number 4. Number 5, Birkas HaTfilo, Abu Darham says, that's a separate category. What is unique about Birkas HaTfilo? It is not only giving thanks and gratitude and singing the praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but pleading with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and asking him for his mercy, for Rachamei Shemayim. All the Brochas Tzoyis in the Shmoyne Esrei are Bekoshes Srochim. Those are defined Birkas HaTfilo. Atochen Odom Das, Refu'einu V'Nerofai, Baruch Oleinu Seshonu Azais. Those are Birkas Tefillah, because they not only say the praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for help, for his rachamim. It is not only the Shmoyne Esrei, V'harevnu Hashem Elokeinu es divrei Torascha b'finu that we say in Birkas HaTorah is l'cha'oira a Birkas Tefillah. Hayoytzer Derech, Tefillas Derech. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to save and salvage us from Chayis Ros V'Lisna Mederech. So that is category number 5. Category number 6 is totally unknown. And that is the Ramban and Brochas, Birkas Haner Moitzoi Shabbos. It is not Birkas Haner because we don't say that brocha in the middle of the week whenever you benefit from fire. Only Moitzei Shabbos because Ur Nivro b'Moitzei Shabbos, and the Ramban says that is a Birkas HaZeichar. Haro'eh Chama b'Tkufo, so once in 28 years we say a brocha. It might be defined as Birkas HaShevach, but the Ramban says Birkas HaZeichar. So that is a general overview of all the brochas. So where does Shoson Nisam Laviseinu fit in? Birkas HaShevach. Maybe Birkas HaHidoya. Maybe. As I said before, some brochas could be associated either with Shevach or with Hidoya because they're so close one to another, but they do stand apart. Similar, but not the same. So I'm not dealing today about the essence and the mahus of the bracha, but rather, what is the machayev? And one could offer 4 different interpretations. Number 1, Hamadlik Ner Chanukah. Both brochas, Birkas HaMitzvah and Birkas HaShevach, are associated with the mitzvah Adlokas Ner Chanukah. And sometimes Birkas HaShevach is associated with a mitzvah. After all, Birkas Shechianu, when you're Makayim a mitzvah Shubo Mizman Lizman. But Birkas Shechianu is also associated with Chagim and Moyadim, which is not necessarily the mitzvah, but rather the day, the time. So we say Birkas Shechianu on mitzvahs, and we say Birkas Shechianu on Zmanim and Chagim, and Shechianu is Birkas Hidoya. Maybe Birkas HaShevach as well. So the question would be, She'osu Nisam Laviseinu. Sibas HaChiyuv is at mitzvah Adlokas Ner Chanukah, and Haro'eh Ner Chanukah is secondary, as if Chazal say, even Haro'eh Ner Chanukah says the bracha, but that is only secondary, or would we say no? The Machayev is only Haro'eh Ner Chanukah, and even when you're Madlik Ner Chanukah, bracha number 1 is on Kiyum HaMitzvah, bracha number 2 is on Riyas HaNer. It is preferable to say bracha number 2 on your ner and not on the ner of someone else. But it is always Riyas HaNer. According to this interpretation, so why do we say the bracha before putting on the candle? all the other Birkas is after you see. Haro'eh Haveroi, Haro'eh Malchi Yisrael. Haro'eh Lavona B'chidusha. Every Birkas is after you see, not before you see. But maybe that is a technicality. It is a brocha and riyasaner. But it's all over asiyosan because the brocha should be said at the same time. Interpretation number 3 would be Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim Chaim. There are 2 separate reasons that we need to say she'osu nisim. Riyasaner and adlukasaner. And none of the 2 is secondary. Ein kan ikar v'tofel. Each of these 2 reasons in itself is machayev Birkas Haro'eh. Interpretation number 4, Birkas Haro'eh is not on the hadloka, neither on the riyah, on the zman. Like shechiyonu b'sholosh regolim, on the zman. So right now I will go directly to halacha and try to fit everything in place like putting a puzzle together. And I'm starting with the very last interpretation, and that is Zman. Kosev ha'me'iri davcha v'gemel, a gevaldige chiddush. If a person is in a place and he can neither light Ner Chanukah and he can't even see Ner Chanukah, he missed a flight was cancelled, and he finds himself first night Chanukah in Madagascar, in who knows where. Somewhere out there in the North Pole, in Antarctica. He is somewhere, no Ner Chanukah to be seen, and he has no means to light Ner Chanukah. The Media brings an opinion that nevertheless, he would say, She'osu nisim laviseinu, because you say it on this man. Lechatchila, you should say it b'shas hadloka. Option number 2, b'shas riyah. But you need to say the brocha even if you do not light and you did not see. The zman is the fundamental machayev. And we find a similar meaning in Masechet Megillah regarding Purim. You don't have a Megillah, you could neither read the Megillah nor hear the Megillah. You still say She'osu nisim laviseinu. Source number 3 is the Ramban and Brochas Nun Daled. The Ramban doesn't go so far as to being paskin halacha that you say She'osu nisim even if you don't have an Ner Chanukah or you don't have a Megillah. But the Ramban in Brochas Nun Daled deals with the brocha of She'osu li neis b'mokom hazeh, She'osu la'avoisai neis b'mokom hazeh, She'osu la'avoseinu nisim b'mokom hazeh. And the Ramban explains time and space have the same din. Sounds like Einstein. Sounds like a law of physics. The relationship between time and space. Mass and time. But then Ramban explains, these 2 brachas are of the very same essence. She'osu li neis b'mokom hazeh, She'osu nisim laviseinu b'yom ha'meim b'zman hazeh. So just like a person comes to a place in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu performed miracles for our forefathers, and he thanks HaKadosh Baruch Hu for those miracles, when you arrive at a time, at a date in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu performed miracles for our forefathers, you also need to say the bracha. And that is a comparison that Ramban writes. So we started with the last option, that She'osu nisim is a chiyuv because of the zman. This is the time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu performed nisim for our forefathers, similar to She'osu nisim laviseinu b'mokom hazeh. And now we go all the way back to options number 1 and number 2. The nafkaman would be a blind man that doesn't see, but he still has a mitzvah Ner Chanukah to light for others. Persumanis is for others and not necessarily for yourself. He definitely would make the bracha She'osu nisim asher kedeshonu b'mitzvos v'tzivonu la'adlit ner shel Chanukah, because the blind are chayiv in the mitzvahs. So if we say She'osu nisim is a chiyuv on the hadloka, he would say She'osu nisim as well. But if the only machayev in She'osu nisim is seeing, then he doesn't see. So the contrast that we publicized this week is a lengthy one. And in today's shiur, I will only discuss part of it. I did bring a major discussion. Some Gedolim, primarily Rabbi Yankov Emden, say, and that is ois beis in our kuntras. Rabbi Yankov Emden maintains that a blind man will not even say if he doesn't see, he doesn't really have the mitzvah. And in the context I explained, but I won't talk about it now because I'm very focused on the specific sugya we're talking about. Anybody that wants to achieve greater depth in this sugya should, see the kuntas that we publicize this week. So some achronim say a blind man won't even say the first bracha. But most poskim, including the Mogan Avraham, say he would say the first bracha because he's chayiv b'mitzvahs. He's chayiv persumanis, even though he himself doesn't see. But would he say the second bracha? Depends how we define the second bracha. Nafkamina number 3 brings us to a sif in Shulchan Aruch Tofresh Ayin Vav Sif Beis. Mishaloi hidlik ve'enoi osid lehadlik. It is clear in the Shulchan Aruch. You're on your way home from shul, and on your way home you see many Chanukahs and many people already lit their Chanukah, but you're not home yet. Do you say, as Shosin is in Avseinu, Medin Haro'eh Chanukah? Shulchan Aruch clearly says no, and that is the opinion of the Rashba in Shabbos Chov Gimel. When Chazal say Haro'eh Chanukah tzorach lavorech, it is only if he did not light, and he doesn't intend to light. But if he's going to light his own Chanukah, he would not say Birkas Haro'eh. But Rashi's opinion, B'Shem Rabbeinu Yankov, is even if you plan to light in another 5 minutes, but when you see, you need to say the Baruch. The Bach explains Ein Mavinen ala mitzvahs. That is a fundamental rule. Ein Mavinen ala mitzvahs. So whenever I speak about fundamental rules in Kiyum HaMitzvahs, I always refer you to Minchas Osher Kloli HaMitzvahs. That is one of my greatest form. And Minchas Osher Kloli HaMitzvahs is a lengthy discussion about Ein Mavinen ala mitzvahs. But in our Sugi, the Bach explains Shittas Rashi. Well, you're on your way home, you're going to light, but Ein Mavinen ala mitzvahs. What is the machlokes? I think the Shulchan Aruch maintains, and that's the opinion of the Rashba, Ikar HaMachayev is Adlokas HaNer. Haro'eh Chanukah is secondary. So, being Mekayim, the mitzvah min HaMuvchar comes before Ein Mavinen ala mitzvahs. And therefore, wait till you get home. And you're going to say the Broch on Adlokas Chanukah. Rashi's opinion, and all the Rishonim bring that opinion, is Birkas Haro'eh is always Birkas Haro'eh. And even when you say the brocha on your own menorah, it is a brocha al riyas haner, and therefore, ein mavinen ala mitzvahs. Sefer HaManig, one of the important Sifrei Ashkenaz, Sifrei Minhagim, Sefer HaManig Kuf Yuteh, says, you're on your way home, mashi yirtzeh yaseh, no chiyuv. You could prefer to say the brocha seeing a menorah even before you light. You could wait till you light, mashi yirtzeh yaseh. And I think this opinion is similar to opinion number 2. It's Birkas Haro'eh. However, there is a chumrah or a mitzvah min hamuvchar to say all the brachas together on your own menorah, and that it balances Ein Mavinen ala mitzvahs, doesn't override Ein Mavinen ala mitzvahs. Shkulim zeh keneged zeh, and therefore, whatever you choose to do. There is one opinion which is a gevaldige chiddush. And the Meiri brings this Yeshoimrim, and he says, you're on your way home, you see an Chanukah, you're mechuyev to say a bracha. But when you light at home, you're going to say the same bracha once again, and you're going to say the bracha twice. Al Ariyah v'al Adloka. How do we explain this opinion? Shnei mechayevim. Ein ikor ve'ein tofel. Ein yesoid ve'ein binyan. And Riyah into itself and Adloka into itself both necessitate saying the brocha. So let me make this clear. If you said a brocha on the Adloka and then you go out of your house and you see others, you don't say the brocha. Because when you said a brocha on the Adloka, that includes Riyah as well. But if you first said the brocha on Riyah, you need to say it again on the Adloka. So these are the fundamental opinions. Now, let me share with you a Gavalige Chiddush that we find in Shuvas Rambam Reish Chov Beis. And previous generations didn't see the Rambam in its basic nusach, formula. They just saw the Rambam quoted by the Abu Daham, and therefore it caused extreme confusion. So the Rambam was asked, he lit one candle and then he does another. Does he need to say the brocha again? And the Rambam responds and says, if Bishoy said the brocha on number one, he had a mind to light number two, then he doesn't say another brocha. But if he did not have in mind he's going to light another ner, then he says the brocha again. So what is the Rambam dealing with? Machlokes Beis Yosef and Chayodam. The Beis Yosef says, we're dealing with a person that at the beginning of the night he only had one wick and just a little bit of oil, just enough for one ner, for one candle. And he said the brocha and he was Makayim Nerishu Beisai, one ner for the entire family. And then, in an unexpected way, he achieved more shemen, more oil, more neris, and now he wants to be a mahadar or mahadar min a mahadar and light additional candles. So the Rambam says, if he didn't have in mind when he said the brocha, because he didn't plan to achieve more shemen or more neris, then he needs to say the brocha again. That's a pshat of the Beis Yosef. Chayodam wants to say, no, we're dealing with a person that lit Chanukah in his house, and then he's invited to someone else's house. He gets a call, there's an almona, please, will you come to light for her? And he goes to another house, does he need to say the bracha? The chiddush in this pshat is, well, if anybody is up there in that other home, then he needs to say the bracha to be moisi them yedechei vasan. And if no one is there, there is no chiyuv b'chlal of mitzvahs Chanukah if nobody is living there. Both these perushim are totally contradicted by the nusach of the Rambam we have today in Pe'er Dor and Shuvas Rambam. The Rambam was asked, Mi shedlik v'choizer v'madlik, oy choizer v'roya. Does he need to say a brocha again? And he's not only dealing with Birkas Adluka, but also with Birkas Ariyashos and Ism. And the Rambam says, if he didn't have in mind, first time he said the brocha, choizer mavorach afilu mea pa'omim, even 100 times. Even 100 times can't be the Beis Yosef. According to the Beis Yosef, it is maximum 8 times. From 1 ner till 8 neres. Doesn't fit in with Chacham Sodom either. What I wrote in my sefer is a Gevaldige Chiddush, and I'm not saying this is a Psak Halacha. It's the opinion of the Rambam. And maybe the Rambam Chosabor in Mishnah Torah, because it has no mention of Mishnah Torah. But at least Pshat in the Shuva is a Gevaldige Chiddush, according to the Rambam. When a person leil Chanukah, he could light a Chanukah with a bracha 100 times. Wherever he comes to a place, and there's Persum Menissa, there's a crowd, people will see the ner, Chayzer umavorach umadlak afilu mea pomim, and the same goes for Birkas Haro'eh. Haro'eh Chanukah, once and twice and 3 times and 4 times, 100 times, he will say a bracha every time he sees the Chanukah. And that is a Gevaldige Chiddush. And according to the Rambam, Hamadlik v'birech will still say a brocha on Re'iyah. Because a roya v'achakach roya says a brocha, so why would a madlik be different? So these are the fundamental opinions. And this brings me to a totally different discussion. There are some people, primarily modern Orthodox community in America, wonderful people, medaktik and b'mitzvahs, primarily Talmidim and Talmidim of Rabbi Yosef Bar Soloveitchik from Boston. And their minig is the first night to say all the 3 brochas before the Hatlokah, from the second night and on, like before the Hatlokah and Nerishin, and Sheosanisim after Nerishin, before Ner Sheni. And that is an interesting minig. So the Talmidim of Rabbi Yosef Bar and their Sforim, Haro'eh Kedem, Reb Michal Shurkin, brings that Rabbi Yosef Bar said that was the meaning of his father, Hagon Reb Moshe Briskerov's brother, Reb Chaim's son. And I think that Yedidi Reb Heschel Shechter in his Sefer Nefesh Harav quotes that Rabbi Yosef Bar said that was the meaning of Reb Chaim. maybe I confused the two Machabrim. I think Rabbi Herschel brings it's the minig of Rabbi Moshe, and in Haro'eh he relates this minig to Reb Chaim. So I don't know. And there's a third sefer, Rishimas Shiurim, names escape me. He also brings this minag. And to me it's a Gavaldik Chiddush. What is it based on? Kosev Aramo, Tov Reish Ayin Vav, Mevorach Gimel Brochas, Lifnei Shematchil Lahadlek. All three brochas are over Asiyasam. But there's a Masechet Seifrim, and the Masechet Seifrim is a Gavaldige Chiddush. And I will read to you the Masechet Seifrim. So now in Kuntres, Ois Gimel. Hamadlik na Chanukah Chavrorach Gimel Brochas Ve'eluhen Lahadlik na Chanukah Shosem Nisim V'Shechiyanu. Ela Gimel Brochas Mavorach B'Yom Rishon Ve'elach Ena Mavorach Ela Beis Brochas Lahadlik Shosem Nisim. Oh, so by mistake I started quoting Rabbi Yerucham, going back to Masechet Seifrim. Perek Chaf Alach Avav Keitzad Mavorchim B'Yom Rishon Hamadlik Mavorach Sholosh V'Aroim Mavorach Shtayim Hamadlik Koima. And listen to this. Hamadlik Koima. Baruch Atah Hashem Lakelim Melech Olam Asher Kedushonim B'Mitzvos Tzivon Lahadlik Ner V'Omer Haneres Halol Le'olam Adlikim Al HaYeshuas V'Al HaNisim V'Al HaFlois Kol Shmoin Simen Chanukah Haneres Halol Kodesh Ein Lo Rishus L'Shtamesh Bein Baruch Atah Hashem Shechionu V'Kimono V'Omer Shosem Nisim L'Avoseinu. According to Masechet Seifrim, you start with Asher Kedushonim B'Mitzvos Tzivon Lahadlik. Then you say Haneres Halol Kodeshim, and only then Shechionu and Shosem Nisim. Well, one definitely wouldn't say Haneres Halol before Hadlaka. That would be a hefsek between Birkas and Mitzvah and Hadlakas and Ner. So obviously he lights the Ner, and only then does he say Haneres Halol, and after Haneres Halol, Shechionu and Shosem Nisim. So, as a compromise between Masechet Seifrim and the Maharil, this minig suggests first brocha Oivel Asiyasan. The other brochas La'achar Hadlaka, and after you say Haneres Halol, and then it still is Oivel Asiyasan because you have another Ner or other Neros. So it still in a way would be defined as Oivel Asiyasan because the middle says you need to say the brocha before Kiyum HaMitzvah Oivel Asiyasan. But to me, this is a very strange minig, because the Masechet Seifrim is not something new that someone discovered. The Maril deals with the Masechet Seifrim. All the Rishonim deal with the Masechet Seifrim. The Beis Yosef does. And none of them suggests this minig. So how could we come along after 1,000 years and say, we have a problem with Masechet Seifrim, we're going to be kaveh new minag? It's not minag aviseinu b'yadeinu. So what did the Rishonim say about this? So the Ramo quotes the Maril Shuvas Maril Kuf Memhei. The Maril says this is a basic klal kol hamitzvos mavorach aleim oivel asiyasan, and it's not only the first bracha. All three brachas need to be before you makayim the mitzvah. And he brings the Masechet Seifrim, and his understanding is Masechet Seifrim is yes kishmoi keinhu lahadlik haneres halolo shechionu shosem nisim. But the Meril argues, Masechet Seifrim is built on a Yerushalmi. In the Yerushalmi, it's a machlokes. So in Bavli, we clearly find one halacha, Oivel Asiyasan before Kiyum HaMitzvah. In Yerushalmi, Brochas Nun Tes, it's a machlokes, Rabbi Yochanan and Rav Huna. Rabbi Yochanan says Oivel Asiyasan, Rav Huna says B'shas Asiyasan. So the Ben Yonah says, obviously, this Braisa Masechet Seifrim is based on Yerushalmi, which is a chiddush l'kishatzmai, that you say the brocha b'shas asiyasan, so you could say shos nisim while you're lighting the neiros. But we paskin according to the Bavli, it needs to be over asiyasan. Ein alocha k'masechet seifrim. That's the Ben Yonah. Some early commentators, Nachlas Yaakov, that was printed 230 years ago, Tov Kuf Nun Gimel, the Chido and his perush on Masechet Seifrim Kikala Oden, they say Masechet Seifrim doesn't come to teach us mugdam ve'meuchar. Ein lil moid klal. It is strange to see Haneres Halol before Shosu Nisim. Masechet Seifrim only comes to teach us what are the brochas and what do we say. But mukdam and meuchar, That's not what Masechet Seifrim comes to teach us. Masechet Seifrim gives us the formula of the three brochas and also the tefillah of an Eres Elolu, Onu Madlikim. So that's interpretation number 2 regarding Masechet Seifrim. Rabbeinu Yeruchim told us Odom Achav in Siftes Chelek Aleph, and we find the same in Abu Darham Hilchas Chanukah, quoting Rabbeinu Yoina, which is a Gavaldige Chiddush. Rabbeinu Yoina says, Lahadlik Ner Shel Chanukah is before Tchilas Ha'adlaka. She'osu Nisim every night is before the last candle. Not after the first, but before the last. The 8th night of Chanukah, we say She'osu Nisim before lighting Ner Shmini. And this brocha is associated with the new Nes, the Nes of tonight. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 7, and number 8. That's Rabbeinu Yoina. And the Beis Yosef brings Rabbeinu Yoina. Rabbeinu Yosef says, the Beis Yosef says, for us it's not relevant. The Rabbeinu Yoina is based on the opinion that you start every night from the same Ner, Yamin, and you go left. So every night you will finish with a new candle. But that's not our minig. Our minig is we always start from the new, from the left, and then we go right. So it's not shaykh to say the Baruch HaShos and Nisam Navasenu on the Ner Noisaf. We start with the Ner Noisaf. So once again, if this opinion is based on Masechet Seifrim, and it is based on Masechet Seifrim, Kamoshe Kosav Abu Darham, that's interpretation number 3. And it's not la halacha. I think it's only the Ritva brings the Yesh Oimrim that we say lahadlik before Tchilas Ha'adlaka and Shos Nisim Kishahid Chil lahadlik. Maybe the Ritva would support this minig, but the Ritva also rejects this opinion. So when all the Rishonim deal with the Masechet Seifrim and none of them paskins this psak, how could we be mechadish a new psak? So yesterday a person called me, Rav Adler, a person I know very well, and he told me that he also learned by Rabbi Yoshe Ber, and Rabbi Yoshe Ber Soloveitchik just explained the Svora Masechet Seifrim, but it was not his personal minig. So I am totally confused about, is it a minig, is it not a minig? But in my opinion, this minig has no room, because I'm not aware that anybody before the Soloveitchiks was Makayim this minig. Masechet Seifrim is something all the Rishonim saw and they all deal with, and none of them suggest this compromise. So let me give you a chiddush now in Siddur HaRashash. That is what the Rashash says. Al pi Kabbalah, and I don't understand what the Rashash says, but the Siddur HaRashash does say lahadlik before the first ner, Shos Nisim after the first ner. Yedidi Agon Rabbi Yankov Hillel brings that it was the minig in some kelis in Algeria, in northern Africa, and he writes a great length about this minig. But there's a lengthy discussion about Mishkal HaKabbalah B'Halacha. When do we paskin according to the Mukabbalah? And according to all the fundamentals I wrote there, when we have a clear psak in the poskim, as in our case, Kol Gimel Broches Lifnei Shematchel Ahadlik Deramo, and the Beis Yosef seems to have the same opinion, then we do not paskin in accordance to halacha. So nevertheless, I think people that are really into halacha, v'kol minhogam ke'ari, ke'reshash, and they're really into Kabbalah, especially if they're Sfarim and they're descendants of people that were part of those communities in northern Africa. Ein limchois biyodam, but for an Ashkenazi Jew, no. Minhag Avoseinu biyadenu, and we say all the 3 brochas before Hadlakas Ner and Yisrael. So today we discussed the brocha of Shosu Nisam Laviseinu, and as he said, it's Birkas Edoy, it's Birkas Shevach. The essence of Chanukah is Hoidoya, Hallel. V'kovi shemonis yemei Chanukah elu lahoidois ulahallel. Every Yom Tov has its essence, its own unique neshama yesera, and no Yom Tov is the same as another. So b'Shorosh Hagolam we are very familiar. Zman Matan Teruseinu, Zman Cheruseinu, Zman Simchoseinu, and the same goes for Chanukah and Purim. What is the essence of Chanukah? V'kovi shmonis yomei Chanukah elu lahoidos u'lahalel. The Rambam writes all the halachas of Hallel in Hilchos Chanukah. Haloi dovorhu. So many times I jokingly say, and I say this in total humor because I'm not insane, I say, if the Rambam would turn to me and he would say, Usha, I don't need your help in defining halacha. I did that on my own. I went through Kol Torah Hashem Tamimo from A to Z, every line in Shas, each and every detail of the Taryag Mitzvah Shebet, and I determined halacha. And that is the Sefer Mishnah Torah that I am about to publish. I also came up with a spark of genius, and I coded, the Rambam was a great codifier of Torah Hashem. And I established 14 criteria. And all the mitzvahs fit into one of these 14 criteria. And those are the Yud Alet Svorim, Yada Chazaka, the Mishnah Torah. I just need some technical help because it's a waste of my time. Could you just fill in the halachas? Just fill in the various different halachas. Sefer Amada, Sefer Avu, Kedusha, Zmanim, Korbonos. Just be mesada the halachas. I definitely would put all the Hilchos Halal into Sefer Ahava, somewhere between Kriya Shema, Tfilo, Brochos. But the Rambam felt differently. And he wrote all the Hilchos of Halal, not only in Chanukah, Halal Shorosh Hagolam, Hilchos Halal is in Chanukah, and even before Hadlokas Haner. Two prokum are Hilchos Chanukah, Perek Gimel and Perek Dalet. Perek Gimel is Halal, Perek Dalet is Hadlokas Haner. Halal comes before Hadlokas Haner. It is the essence, the neshama of Chanukah, and that is why the Rambam writes all DNA Halal in Chanukah. Previous years, I discussed the Zman Hadlokas Na Chanukah and Mokam Hadlokas Na Chanukah, and I argued there's a Machlokes Rambam and Tur. Mokum and Zman are two sides of the same coin. What is the essence of Chanukah? Zeichel or Persumenis? I argued, fundamentally it starts with Zeichel, and therefore a Madlik B'Torch Beisoy is Yotzi Yedei Chavosoi. Persumenis is an addition. Mitzvah Lanichal Pesach Beisoy Mebachutz. Zeichel is for your own self. Persumenis is for others. Do you recall which Perek and Tehillim we learn about Choyves HaHoidoya? Arboat Tzrichem LaHoidos. Perek Kuf Zayin in Tehillim. It is a Perek where we say, Chasidim say Leil Shabbos, by Kabbalah Shabbos, before Mincha. And in that Perek, the Pasuk says once and again, Yoidu Lashem Chazdoi, V'nifla'oisav Levnei Yodam. Yoidu Lashem Chazdoi is Zeichel. That is just giving thanks and gratitude. Nifla'oisav Levnei Yodam is Persumenis. Birkas Aidoya 3 times a day in Shmoynes. We also use dual language. Noide lecha unesaper tehilosecha. Those are 2 obligations whenever a Jew is zeiche to a nes. Yoidu l'shem chazdai v'nifloisev l'nei yodam. Noide lecha unesaper tehilosecha. That is zeichelenes and persumenis. And Hoidoya is everything. Kosev Rambam B'Sof Parshas Boy, and I quoted this Ramban 1,000 times, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help me another 10,000 times. Barichas Yomim V'Shonim. The Rambam writes, Tachlis HaYetzira HaRashoyna Ve'ein le'el elyon chayfetz b'tachtoinim ki im sheyoida ha'odam ve'yoida le'eloikav shibara'oi. Sheyeda ha'odam, a person should recognize and thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for making him, for creating him. And the Rambam goes on to explain, Roimim es hakoil b'tfilo and bote kneisiyos. And the way I understand the Rambam, Shiyei Odom v'yoida, that is Yoida L'Shem Chazdo, and the bote kneisiyos and Roimim es hakoil, that is nifla oisa v'livnei Odom. And that is what Chanukah is all about. Zeicheliness for yourself, for your family, pursue menisa, for all the people out there. And that is Tachlis Sabriya. The Ramban writes, Tachlis HaYetzira HaRishoyno. You got to be the Ramban to make such a statement. But somebody said it before the Ramban, as that is the Novi Yeshayahu in Perek Mem Gimel. In the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Am Zu Yotzarti Li Tihilosi Yisaperu. And the Rishonim on the spot explain, Am Zu Yotzarti Li Kedei Shetihilosi Yisaperu. That is our duty, that is our mission in the world. Yizgadal v'yizkadei shemerav. Am Zu Yotzarti Li Tihilosi Yisaperu. Let the world know that we believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu does miracles. The great miracles of yore and the day-to-day miracles of today. So Chanukah is a time we need to believe in miracles. We need to remember Nes Pach Hashemen, and we need to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the personal level, and let it be known. Persume Nise Lerabim. Noidelacho unesaper tehilosecho. And that is the essence of Chanukah. It is also the greatest gula for continuous rachamei shamayim. When you thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu every day for his rachamim and chasadim, it is the greatest gula HaKadosh Baruch Hu should keep on bestowing upon you. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Have a listige Chanukah.